Cast members see behind the scenes. They are part of making the fantasy turn into reality. So, what does it mean to really be a cast member at a Disney park or another theme park? And does being one ruin the magic? Cast members are possibly the most important part of a theme park. You can have a empty set that looks amazing, but if you don't have the cast members, it doesn't come alive. The cast members are the ones that make it feel real. They're the actors in the play, and that's really where the word cast member comes from. The term refers to the people that are performing in a movie or a play or a TV show, the actors in it that make it be real. And that's really what the employees at a theme park are. The theme park is kind of your stage set, your play set. And where people coming into the park, the guests can see, that's on stage. And what they can't see is backstage. And all of the employees are the cast members that make it come alive. When they come on stage where the guests can see them, they're performing a role. They're acting to help it become real. But when they're backstage, it may be a little bit different. The term cast member, in fact, goes all the way back to Walt Disney himself, who was the one that used it as a means to kind of help guide the employees and show them what they're supposed to be doing. And it really is a good reminder constantly of what you're doing, that you are acting, that you're helping to turn this fantasy into reality, that you're helping make it real for the guests who are coming in. They're the participants in it, the audience, but you are the one making it come alive as they experience this fantasy world. It means that you are acting, and that there are times that you have to act in ways you don't want to. Like anything of acting, the best way to do it is you find a part of yourself and you kind of puff it up and enhance it a bit more. So you make yourself happier than maybe you actually feel. But you're still you. You still do what you do, but you do the good parts, not the bad, and you enhance them a bit. So even when I do videos, you see my energy level up a little bit, and my family kind of refers to it as my acting persona or my video persona. It's still me, but it is also more of the good me. And the same thing is true at the parks. You really want the guests to have a great time, so you're more of the good you. And it means that on those days when you don't feel like working, well, you gotta do even more acting. Because like any other job, there's days when you feel sick, you've got somebody sick at home, you got financial pressures, maybe you got a family member that's dying, or, there's stuff that happens in the real world. Your car breaks down, and what are you going to do to get it fixed? I don't know, or I just had a huge fight, and you come into work and you're not feeling like working. In fact, if you didn't have to be there, you wouldn't be. You could see this backstage sometimes. The employees are walking around just like, nah. That's reality. But the job is to change that reality when you step on stage where the guests can see you, to bring the fantasy to life and turn that real. And so you can't have the real world stuff. If you're sick, you can't let it show to the guests. And so you will see the employees backstage where the guests can't see them, and they may be walking around scowling and grumpy. And then you'll see as soon as they hit that spot where a guest can see them, they change. And we all did it. And you could see when they would come off stage, they would have been performing. I'm going to go get a break. Yeah, see y'all later. Good to see you. Oh my goodness. You just see the transformation. Because at that point, they no longer had to act. It really was acting. That's part of the show. Again, we called it the show. Keep a good show. Make the show look good. It's all these drama and theater and movie terms, but it helped make it come to life. And it means sometimes that when you see something that may ruin the magic, and make the fantasy all of a sudden not look so real, you have to take steps to fix it. A good example is wardrobe malfunctions. They're a huge popular thing on the internet right now, and they happen. I watched Mickey's shoe come off. I watched people step on a character's foot and their shoe just collapse and then stay collapsed. I watched characters occasionally get hurt. You would see things where You would have to still preserve the reality, but you also saw something that you had to fix. If a character's outfit, for example, started to come undone or open up, you would have to help the character fix it. And if it was a simple one, then, maybe you would make an excuse. Hey, Mickey, I just gotta tell you about something. And you would walk up and you would be talking to him while you're quickly fixing their costume. We did it all the time. Oh, hey, you know what, Mickey? I wanted to talk to you about that appointment you've got afterwards. And, Mickey, and you just talk out loud to the guests while you're fixing the outfit. If it's something that couldn't be fixed, hey, Mickey, I think you've got a phone call. You probably should get that. And Mickey would get the hint and go, oh, there's something wrong. I need to go back and fix it. Minnie had an ongoing issue, and you would have to sometimes help fix that or let her know that, Minnie, you're starting to slip just a little bit. And help them out. You didn't want the guests to see it, though, so the idea was if you saw it, you'd catch it before the guests did, let the character know, and if you could fix it, great. If you had to take them off stage to fix it, but you did it before the guests became aware, as soon as you could. And so as a photographer, that was actually one of the big things that we watched for, is there something going on that could change the fantasy and remind people that this isn't quite exactly what you're seeing. And it would also affect the characters and their moods. I was talking about how backstage you were one way and on stage you were another. But just like us, the characters are people too. And sometimes they didn't feel real good. I can remember one time that one of my ducks had sprained their wrist. Was just having a hard time. Didn't want to do autographs. And then when you see that family walk up with the huge stack of autograph books, and then you look and there's 3 families all in a row with stacks of autograph books, you just cringe for your poor duck, because they're not wanting to do it right now because it hurts. But they're doing it anyways. You could tell sometimes when you got to know your characters what kind of a mood they were in and if they were feeling up to stuff or not, and then you'd kind of look for ways to try to help them get through it. Okay, I know that this character is not feeling really good today, so they're probably not going to be as animated and up as they usually are, so maybe I can help cover for it a little bit and help them out and work it through. Just as a sample line, if Goofy, for example, was tired and not feeling good and I knew it, and maybe he's just a little droopy, well, I would tell the guests, folks, I'm sorry, you have to excuse Goofy today. Max had a late night party last night and he kept Goofy up, and so he's just feeling a little tired. So we could come up with storylines to cover it if we knew. And sometimes we'd recognize it, but honestly, the vast majority of the time, the characters, you'd never have a clue. They covered it so well because of the performing for the show. For most of the characters, they weren't going to let that guest down. Their whole deal was to make that experience the best it could be for the guest. They didn't want to disappoint them. So there wasn't any way that they were going to let that guest know they weren't feeling good if they didn't absolutely have to. So you saw a lot of that. You would see them behind the scenes, not feeling good, sitting there just going, oh, man, this is just not a good day. I don't want to be here. And then you would see, as soon as they put that costume on, it would change. And they would go from being whoever they were to, I am the character. I am the performer. I am the entertainer. I am the one that's going to make this experience for those people out there the best possible experience, regardless of how I feel. We would leave us backstage and we would carry on whatever character we were or whatever role we were playing out to the guests. That was part of what the job was, but it was also what we wanted to be. That's a lot of the reason many of us worked at theme parks, was because we loved that opportunity to leave the old behind and to show the new. Does knowing what goes on behind the scenes ruin the magic? That feeling of, man, this is wonderful, this is fantastic? Yes and no. And it would change for different people. For the people that came in and it was just a job, well, you have to question how much magic there was to begin with. And there were a good number of people that fit into this role. They're there to make a paycheck. They're there to earn some money, and that's the only reason they're there, and they'll do what they need to do to earn that paycheck. For others, when you do the same thing day in and day out, day after day, week after week, year after year, just doing it for a long period of time, you can forget the magic. You can lose the magic, if you will. and it just kind of becomes routine and regular. And that does happen, especially with some longer time employees. But then there are others that never seem to lose that. For me personally, I found working behind the scenes and seeing backstage and how things worked and how people did things, I'm constantly fascinated by that. It's neat to me. It's really cool, and especially when you see how all of that ties together and then turns into this on-stage performance for the guests, that's cool for me. 5 years at Disney, I never lost the magic. 3 years at Silver Dollar Line, nope, never did. I still go visit the park, and I'm still fascinated by how they do it today. That's possibly one of my favorite things, is watching the behind-the-scenes mechanics of blah turn into what the guests see as, wow. That's just cool for me. And it's the same reason I like performing in plays in college and stuff. I love being a part of that kind of thing. My family, on the other hand, I think after 5 years of me working at Disney, they started to get a little burned out because of my talking about it all the time. So yeah, it changes based on the person and what they're doing. Do some people lose it? Yes. Do others? No. I love looking at what a theme park does and how it operates behind the scenes and then turns that behind the scenes into what the guests see. That's just really cool to me. And I've loved it for decades. And to get the opportunity to be a part of it was fantastic. So no, I never got burned out. I never lost the magic. But some people do. It's a reality of it. And it changes based on the person. So what do you think? Do you want to be a cast member now? Did you like this little look at behind the scenes? I'd love to hear your input. If you are a cast member at a theme park, I'd love to hear your perspective too. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is this true for you? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you got questions about cast members and what it's like, share those as well. Please don't hesitate to comment. Don't forget to hit that like button, the share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to check the description. There's a ton of information there, including information about how to become one of my financial supporters, either through YouTube membership or Patreon. My financial supporters do so much and help make so much possible, including trips, equipment, the footage that I get to use in the videos, and they get perks as well. Early previews of videos, Zoom conference calls, and more. If you want to know more, be sure to check the description. I also want to give a huge shout out to my brand new patron, Mr. Meek Daddy. Thank you so much for signing on and your support. And thank you so much for watching. God bless. And that's how a good number of your employees, which is what cast members are the ones that turn everything. Telling you, I have had more trouble trying to get this silly video filmed. Try it again. All right. So cast members, get rid of the so. I'm not sewing. There is something called the magic that makes working at a park much more fun, more exciting, more interesting. People coming in the door. I am never going to get this done. Hello, I'm trying to record. Train of thoughts. Yep. Sorry, I literally just... Yeah, for the Bufords. No. It's really kind of a neat deal, but when you have been there for a long time, well, what happens with that? Ginger, sit down. If somebody can get the damn dog. You know what?
I just thought the dog home.
No, it's okay. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to know about contact information, fan pages, merchandise, and more, please be sure to check the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to know when I have new ones, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button right up there. And if you want to see another one of my videos, well, I've got a great one for you right here. And a huge thank you to these wonderful people here who support me on Patreon and with YouTube memberships. They get behind the scenes information, special perks, and more. If you'd like to know more about that, well, make sure you check that button right there. Thank you so much.